Before the world began, before there were people or animals or stars, God created angels. Angels are God's special messengers, powerful, beautiful beings made of pure spirit. They live with God in heaven and serve him with all their hearts. And among all the angels, one stood out as the greatest and most courageous. His name was Michael. The name Michael means something very important. Who is like God? It was a question and a challenge. It meant nobody is greater than God. Nobody can compare to him. And Michael said this name like a battle cry, a shout of loyalty to the God he loved. But not all the angels were faithful. One of the most beautiful and powerful angels, whose name was Lucifer, grew proud. He looked at his own beauty and intelligence and thought, I don't need God. I should be God. He convinced many other angels to follow him, a whole army of angels who turned their backs on their Creator. And then came the greatest battle ever fought, a battle not on earth, but in heaven itself. Michael stood at the front of God's faithful angels, his sword shining like lightning. Who is like God? He roared, and the good angels charged forward with him. The sky split with light and thunder as the two armies clashed. Michael and his angels fought with the power of God's love, while Lucifer and his rebels fought with pride and anger. The battle was fierce, but Michael would not give up. With one mighty swing of his sword, he struck the dragon. That's what the Bible calls Lucifer, and sent him tumbling out of heaven. The rebel angels fell with him, cast down like a storm of dark shadows. Heaven was safe again. Good had won. And Michael, the brave archangel, stood victorious, his wings spread wide, glowing with the light of God's glory. God gave Michael a very special job after that great battle. He made him the protector, the guardian of all God's people. In the Bible, the prophet Daniel calls Michael the great prince who stands for the children of your people. Michael watches over us, especially when we're in danger. He fights for us when we can't see the battles happening around us. The Bible tells us that Michael even argued with the devil himself over the body of Moses. Satan wanted to use Moses' grave to trick people into worshipping Moses instead of God. But Michael said no. He protected what was holy and kept God's people focused on God, not on false idols. Some of the great teachers of the church believed that Michael was the angel God placed at the gates of Eden after Adam and Eve had to leave paradise. He stood there with a flaming sword, guarding the way to the tree of life. Not to keep people out forever, but to protect what was sacred until the right time came. Throughout history, people have prayed to St. Michael for healing. In the early days of the church, there were places where Michael was said to have made healing springs flow from rocks. People who were sick would bathe in the water, pray to God and to St. Michael, and many were cured. He showed that God's power isn't just about fighting. It's about healing and caring for people too. St. Michael has 4 special jobs that God gave him: to fight against evil, to rescue souls from the devil's power, especially at the hour of death, to be the champion and protector of God's people, and to carry souls to God. That's why the Church teaches us a special prayer to him. St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. So what can we learn from St. Michael? He shows us that courage isn't about being the biggest or the strongest. It's about standing up for what's right, even when it's hard, even when it seems impossible. Michael stood against a whole army of rebels because he knew that God is stronger than anything. When we face scary things, when we're tempted to do wrong, when we feel alone, we can ask St. Michael to pray for us. St. Michael the Archangel, pray for us.